ask, can there be a peace with Russia if this issue of the children that have been stolen are not returned? To your mind, is it possible for a peace agreement without a reconciliation of the children?
No, because it's a crime, and it's only one way if they will return these kids.
Hello, and welcome to this, our first full-fledged episode of the On the Edge podcast. And our debut guest, and it's only right that it be so, is Mykola Kuleba, the former presidential commissioner for children's rights. He now heads up the Save Ukraine organization, whose sole purpose is to locate, rescue, and care for those Ukrainian children caught up in Russia's cruel occupation. Okay. So, Mykola, thank you so much for being our first guest on the Edge.
Thank you for the invitation.
And I wanted to have you as our first guest for a very particular reason. Because to my mind, what Russia is doing with the children of Ukraine is the worst crime that is being committed here. Not to diminish other crimes, but what is the scale of the crimes that Russia is committing against Ukraine's children?
We have to go deeper to our history because it's different data. As you know, Russia were kidnapping our children during the last 100 years. And when they grabbed our land 100 years ago, and they forcibly deported millions of Ukrainians. It is a policy of that regime, first Lenin regime, Stalin regime, and other Soviet regimes, just to assimilate Ukrainian population, to erase our identity, to destroy nationality, and to kill our people. And it is special, children very special for them because they understand, and in early age, if they will start to poisoning their minds, their brains of Russian propaganda, they can have success. That just children can grow up just when they will be glorifying Putin, Russia, they will be very good for Russia.
Yeah,
for next war, for conflicts.
And they have their own population problem. Yeah. Their population is diminishing.
Yeah, they have demographic issues.
But what I find so cynical about the Russians is that they're not ashamed of it. They're proud of it. They're very proud of it.
Yes.
They will openly say that we are saving these children from the decadent West, that the idea of Ukraine and Ukrainian nationality is wrong. And so it's not even that they're ashamed of it. They're proud of it. They brag about, I mean, they even, they say 700,000 children. That's their number. It's probably a lie, by the way. I suspect. I don't think 700, but
I'll explain you.
Yes, please.
Yeah, and you're totally right. And after the full-scale invasion started, Putin many times stated that Ukrainian no exist. Ukraine is a nation. It's Russian historical territories, and his advisor told many times that Ukrainian land belongs Russian children. That's why they try to convert Ukrainian children to Russian children, to totally erase their identity. And you ask me about numbers. We have to talk about the last 10 years when first invasion started, 2014, and now I think we have not not less than 1.5 million Ukrainian children who live in Russia and occupied territories. How many of them unaccompanied or orphans? We don't know. We have no data.
Yeah.
But it was 500,000 children in Crimea. It was 1 million Ukrainian children who lived in Donbass. And that territories in Donbass, they occupied 2014, it leaves 70% of that million. It means that, and then new territories after full-scale invasion, and it's altogether almost 1.5 million Ukrainian children who live under the Russians.
Yes. So it's a matter of the children that are currently under Russian occupation
And in Russia.
and in Russia.
Together, Russia and occupied territories, because for these children, it doesn't matter orphans or children with families, occupied territory or Russia, it's the same strategy of erasing Ukrainian identity. This same strategy.
Yes.
Everywhere they must receive Russian citizenship, children and parents. Everywhere they must go to attend Russian school on occupied territory and in Russia. They must glorify Putin, sing Russian anthem. They must go to Russian military movements. It is 16, can you imagine, 16 different Russian movements for children. Military 16.
These are like pionierka, kind of
Yes,
this kind of
yes.
ideology.
And it's obligation.
It's like youth militarism.
Yes, every child must go, must be a part of these movements, because I remember Soviet times. I was pioneer. Nobody asked me if I want. It was my obligation to swear Lenin, to love him. I did not know who is he. I've seen his like a picture and oh, it's good guy. You should swear that you will be good boy. You will be pioneer. It was ideology.
Mm-hmm.
It's nothing new. It's the same ideology now in Russia.
It's a cult.
It's a cult.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what happened on occupied territories? How Russia tried to like grow new identity. What identity Russians have? Soviet.
Yeah.
They bring back Lenin's monument. They bring back Soviet flags, and they tell children, very soon, Soviet Union will come back.
And teach them to want that.
It's only one identity, Soviet identity. They have no identity, any other. We are Ukrainians, have our identity. We are going back to our identity, to our history. But Kiev Rus, what is Kiev Rus? It's Kiev.
Yeah.
It's Ukraine. Yeah. But why? That's why Putin's so hard fighting to grab us.
I think that there is something in the Russian mentality where they genuinely don't believe that Ukraine is anything other than a small Russia. You know, they literally can't conceive of there being a difference between Ukraine and Russia. It's a mental state.
Yes, it's a mental state. It's Russian narratives. We are one nation. We are one
and we
country.
get to decide what that is.
Yeah,
we in Moscow.
Yeah,
we in Moscow.
Yeah.
We decide what it is to be Slavic.
Yeah.
We decide what it is to be Orthodox.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we will force you
Yes.
to be the kind of Slavic Russian that we want you to be. Mm-hmm. We don't care what you think.
And you know what happened? Why children? Because every day it's about human being. If you speak every day, I love Russia. That's why children who've been returned, that kidnapped kids who returned by Save Ukraine, we are documenting these war crimes, and we ask them questions. Guys, what happened with you in school? They telling us, we've been singing anthem at schools or camps, and very often we can hear that our teacher asks us, what country you live, or where do you live? Russia. And they have to swear that they are ready to die for Russia or die for Putin. Yeah, we have kids who told me about it. Our teacher asked us, if you are ready, die for Russia. And children should answer, yes, we are ready. For Putin, we should be proud, die for Putin. What is this?
It's their mentality. It is a very different kind of relationship to the state, what an individual's place is in society, and they want to teach Ukrainian children to erase the idea of European liberal democracy and being a citizen is as important as the state, that there's a relationship between. Russia wants none of that. Mm-hmm. They want you to be a good little machine in their state apparatus, where Ukrainians don't think that. The first time I came to Ukraine 25 years ago, I got off the train from Moscow and instantly I knew I was in a different place, because the mentality, even in your basic. So we hear these stories from the occupied territories, that one of the first things that they do is when they come into a city or a town, they go for, where's the mayor, where's this person, where's that person, but very short on that list, where are the children? They'll go to schools, they'll find out where maybe kids are being kept safe, and it's a priority for them to go and take these children, and it's a war crime by definition. I looked up the definition of ethnic cleansing under the UN Charter, and the forcible removal of children is part of ethnic cleansing. By definition, they are.
It's not
conducting
ethnic cleansing. It's a genocide. It's a pure genocide, because they annihilate Ukrainian identity. It's their intent, and they are doing it every day on occupied territories and in Russia, because children have no opportunity to choose. They learn Russian or Ukrainian, choose live in Russia or in Ukraine, choose to go to school or not go to school. They have obligation. They must go to this way to learn Russian, to be Russian citizenship, and then to be Russian soldiers, because now thousands of these young adults who've been school children in Donbass 10 years ago, they are now soldiers, Russian soldiers, and they are fighting with the West, not with Ukraine. They clearly understand. I've seen in Russian books that you can read, Russia is a victim because NATO aggressor using Ukrainian fight with Russia. They won't grab Russia. That's why they teach children. You should grow strong and be able to fight with NATO, be able to fight with the West, who want to destroy Russia. And it's in their heads.
So there aren't any NATO troops in Ukraine, and the war is in Ukraine. So what they're teaching these children in Donbass to do is to kill other Ukrainians, because they're killing Ukrainian soldiers. They're not killing NATO soldiers.
It's
in their mind.
Yeah,
it's different. I understand that, but
they teach them it's Nazi. It's not Ukrainians. It's Nazi, Ukrainian Nazi together with NATO. They believe that, we returned last year, we returned several girls, teenagers, it's 16, 17 years old, and they run away from their homes because before the occupation of territories, these Russian soldiers there told and convinced them that it's not Ukraine it's American, British, German soldiers who will rape children and women.
They're telling children in the occupied territories and in the Donbass that it will be Americans. So American soldiers.
American, German,
and French,
British. It's
probably knowing the Russians, I wouldn't be surprised if they say like black Americans.
It's criminals.
Or
it's criminals.
But they will come and they will rape you and they will.
Because it's
all
a
the
criminals.
same things that they do themselves, by the way.
Yes.
I mean, I'm hesitant to talk about it too openly because it's a very disturbing topic, but we know that there are sexual crimes being committed against these children, especially those who are orphans. Is this? It's a very difficult topic, but are you hearing reports from the children that you are rescuing that they were assaulted? Or
Not only hearing, we have a special center, Hope and Healing Center, where we provide rehabilitation for sexually abused children. Yeah, we are working with these children.
This is a really upsetting topic for me, but I think it's important that we discuss it.
They
boys, girls,
yes, boys and girls, yeah,
sexually attacked by Russian soldiers.
Yeah, and
now do you do documentation of those crimes?
Yes.
Or do you
we provide general prosecutors provide this documentation. We provide rehabilitation and trauma
so
therapy.
the Ukrainian authorities
Yes.
are the ones who confirm
Yes.
that sexual assault has happened. You take care of their mental health.
Yeah, and just several months ago we returned a woman with 2 kids, and she was stopped on the checkpoint. She was raped of 6 soldiers. 6 Russian soldiers raped her, and they shot her leg. Yeah, they put arm jacket and they played with her and shoot her leg through arm jacket because it was maybe Russian arm jacket. And after that, her husband hanged himself on the eyes of children, so little kids. And she was paralyzed. And we took her, we kidnapped her from that territory, because if not, they killed her, because she is a witness of war crime. And we took her, and next day Russians came to her father and told, if she will not come back, we will kill you. Yeah. And she had to run away. And she a witness of war crimes. Yeah. And really, her condition is very bad. Yeah.
And again, they're proud of it. They're not ashamed. They don't deny it. Yeah. I mean, the minister in charge, I'm gapping her name, Belova.
Mm-hmm.
She proudly says that she has, what she says is adopted 2 children. She has kidnapped 2 children and brought them into her family.
Сами ребенка усыновили из Мариуполя, да?
Да. Владимир, благодаря вам.
Маленький.
Нет, 15 лет. Теперь я знаю, что такое быть мамой ребенка с Донбасса.
2 years ago, she bravely stated that we bring to Russia thousands of children, and she asked Russians to be a guardianship or adopt these children, and only
with
after,
a pension, I'm betting.
Yeah, only after this International Criminal Court decision, warrant order for Putin and Maria Lvova, they stopped this. They really afraid. They were afraid that they will sit in a tribunal, and they will be punished. But it's crazy, people. Really, they are so crazy.
I heard a report just this week that in Luhansk, they are the women who come to deliver babies at the maternity hospital, that they have to show that they have taken a Russian passport, or the children that they give birth to will be taken from them. Is this true?
It's true. And it's true that all families should have Russian passports. We have just maybe 2 months ago, we brought from occupied territory father with 2 orphans. He's a foster father. And mother 1 month before died because she couldn't receive medical help because she had no passport. And 1 month she had serious problem with health, and several times she asked to help, but they refused because you are not Russian citizenship. That's all. She died. And they are going to every house with a weapon, these Russian soldiers, to check if children are there, if children attend schools. If not, they telling that we will terminate your parents' rights and take your children off, and you will never see your kids. That if you not send your children to school, but to send your children to school, you must have Russian passport.
Because they have to go to our school and learn our
Yes.
language and our
Yes.
customs and our values.
Yes, because it's very important for them to know that no any opposition on occupied territory, no any. You know what happened with any person in Russia who opposite, who trying just to tell something. You cannot tell word war anywhere. You cannot tell.
A special military operation.
Yes.
You know, the thing is, you were kind enough to provide me with some videos, and I watched some of these videos, and the children that are returning, that you rescue and then return, and you oftentimes you'll give them a Ukrainian flag, and the look on their faces, it's both very beautiful, but it's also, it made me cry. It made me very upset, because you could see in their faces the trauma that they had been through, and that they have returned to Ukraine, they're given a Ukrainian flag, and their emotions are too powerful for them. How much damage is being done to these children during their time in occupied territories? What is the consequence to them?
We don't know. We really have no idea what generational trauma we will have. It's generational. It's not just now, because we can see now many kids who can't sleep, who very nervous, who cannot communicate. It's a different consequences, but we really don't understand what happened with them in future, about their future life, because after, it's like example, World War II, what happened? Millions traumatized. For example, my father, he grew up when he was born before the war started, grew up, and his grandfather was killed on his eyes, before his eyes, of German soldiers. And he went through starvation, and till before he passed away, all his life, he was asking me only if I dressed well, if I eat well. That's all. No any emotions. It's trauma. He cannot feel. He cannot like to give you like this emotion. You cannot live normally because this trauma. And looking at these kids who've been returned by us, and talking with them, I understand that maybe many of them will never overcome these traumas. We don't know. We're working hard, and we have psychologists and psychiatrists, art therapists, case managers, just to help them to overcome. But I don't know. Many kids have the same traumas, and it's a years. That's why now we cannot tell you what happened in 10 years or 20 years.
But at least you're doing something about it. I mean, on the other side of the equation in Russia, it's here's a bottle of vodka, shut up, stop complaining,
Yes.
That's their mentality towards mental health. I've seen a completely different attitude in Ukraine, which is trying to address these problems before they become, they're 10 years old now. In 10 years' time, they'll be in their 20s, and there is a possibility that the pain and the anger will manifest in unproductive behavior. But at least Ukraine is doing something about it. I've lived in Russia. I know. I've been to Russian orphanages. I've been to Russian prisons, mental facilities. When you are a custodian of the state in Russia, you are less than nothing. You are a burden on the state, and so you are not.
Because they don't
you're
need
garbage.
They don't need like intelligence population. They need like meat.
Yeah.
But
here I do see a real effort to try and address. You're right. I think these children will never be the same again. That it will be part of their life for the rest of their lives. How does it manifest itself? What do you see children when you bring them from the occupied territories, when you bring them from away from the trauma and away from the suffering? How does their pain and their trauma manifest? I guess it's probably different for different ages.
Yeah,
Can you what kind of things are you seeing? Mental health issues.
They have different traumas, and first of all, that kids who have families, it's very hard for them to forgive their parents because they think that it's parents' fault. It's like if the parents agree to send them to camps and they couldn't come back. And I'll tell you a story. One 12 years old boy, he was in Erasure maybe 8 months in different camps, and I asked him, did you believe that you will come back? He told, yeah, I believe. I planned my escape. I don't, what do you mean? That I plan how I cross the battlefields, these war zones, and come back to my family. I told, how you could do this? Yeah, with my friend, every night we were planning, but only one thing stopped us, how we cross the minefields. And what? And we had a plan. Yes, and we had a plan. We planned we will throw stones and step on that place just to cross the minefield. Do you know? Can you? I have.
This is a 12-year-old.
I have 4 kids. I cannot imagine that my child, without me, laying in the enemy's territory and at night planning escape and how cross the minefields. It is such a trauma for them, and really, and it's months before we could help him and extracted him from that territory.
See, I get sad and upset about the situation, and then I hear something like that, and I get angry.
That's why you
get angry.
You
that
mentioned
makes me very angry.
We angry because you
a
mentioned
12-year-old
flags.
A 12-year-old child should not be thinking about landmines.
Yes.
A 12-year-old child should be playing.
Yes, you mentioned flags. We have tradition when we bring back kids. We gave them flags on their shoulders, and all kids crying because and telling us we were dreaming about it. We were dreaming. They've been crying when they were crossed the border, and just they've seen a Ukrainian flag. Many of them were crying, and many of them did not believe that it's possible to come back. Yeah, and it was like tears of hope. It really it's touched my heart. Really, I'm very often crying with that. Because it's hard when child crying, and when with the Ukrainian flag that I believe or I did not believe, but it happened. Yeah, it's so touch stories for me as a father. It's hard to understand what child felt there. Many children don't want to tell this, to any adults, even to their parents, because it's a trauma. But one 13 years old boy who been placed Russian family. He been in Russian family, and we returned him, and because he had older sister, and we brought her to brother, and it was very special story. And he didn't want to tell anything about it. He hate to tell, but because first of all, when I asked how they kidnapped you, they told, why you tell kidnapped? They saved me. Why? They took me from occupied territory where Ukrainian Nazi tried to kill us. I don't. Have you seen Ukrainian Nazi? He told, no. But who told you about it? Russian. This family I lived, Russian family. I told, and you believe this? Yeah. But okay, before Russians came, have you seen any Ukrainian Nazi in Ukraine? No. But
Well, and what does a 13
but
year
why
old
you
know what a Nazi is
but
anyhow?
they saved you from Ukrainian Nazi and you believe this. Yeah. But why? And it's you can see how the 13 years old boy, how this brain work hard to understand what is true, because he was confused, because he believed in this true, Russian true, that Ukrainian Nazi tried to kill him, tried to kidnap him, and they saved his life. And he been in this Russian family. And I remember after 6 months in our rehabilitation center, he came to me and told, I want to talk with you. I won't tell you everything. I told, what do you mean? I won't tell you what happened with me. And he was sitting maybe 2 hours. He didn't stop. And I stopped him. Please stop. Stop. Because he was telling me a lot of different stories, everything, what happened with him. But 6 months of rehabilitation. And he was really afraid, first, to tell anything. Second, he believed that in Russian manipulation.
Yeah. Well, and then the other thing is, it's funny to hear them talk, because they say that they're rescuing children from the war and from the violence of the war. That's what the Russians say. But the Russians are causing the violence. And the Russians, they make orphans, and then they take the orphans and say, we're going to help you. You're a poor orphan. Well, who made you an orphan? The Russians made you an orphan. So this kind of mentality is very upsetting. And I can imagine that this child that you're talking about, this 13-year-old, it's when you start to pull at the emotional string, sometimes it comes flooding out, which is why I think a lot of people who face trauma don't want to start to talk about it, because once you start, you can't stop. Have you seen that, or do they keep it very bottled up?
Yeah, especially who've been sexually assaulted.
Oh, the sexual.
Yeah, it's a shame. It's
Yeah.
a shame for them to just to tell
Embarrassing,
about it. Yeah.
shame.
It's a long time of rehabilitation before they will open, before they will tell something about it. Yeah.
How does the process happen where you find children that you can bring back to Ukraine? And what is the procedure for working? I've seen the buses go into occupied territories in the videos you provided, and also it's just well known, your activities. How do you find children that can be rescued? What is the process?
No, we cannot go by buses. Our buses go to the border.
And then you get out of the bus, cross the border.
It's impossible. In the beginning of our rescue missions, we really rented buses in Russia and Belarus and transported these families, mothers with these kids back to Ukraine. It was maybe first 6 months. We could bring back 10, 20 kids, but it was very short time. And then Russian block everything. Now we are taking them back one by one. It's impossible to take 5 or 10 children together
one by one, and we're talking about thousands of children.
And if you, as Ukrainian mother, because now it's only one way through Moscow, you can reach Russia, and they block everything. They have a special regulation there. With any person with Ukrainian passport cannot go in and out because you will be arrested. But if you are a Ukrainian mother, if you landed in Moscow in airport, FSB immediately will interrogate you. And if you will tell that you are going to take your child back, you could be deported. We have cases when they deported mothers
of children,
and they banned for 20 years to go to Russia. 20 years banned. Yeah.
So not only are they taking their children, but they're
They cannot.
denying any
They cannot.
contact with their children for 20 years.
Only if you will ask Maria Lvova Belova, yes, and it should be officially and with cameras, and you should should swear that you will not tell something bad about Russia. We have a case when mother and son, he's maybe 15 or 16 years old son, they've been naked. They naked them and film.
They naked?
Dressed off.
Naked,
Naked.
no clothes.
No clothes.
So, how
Mother
old?
and his son.
What?
Yeah, and this son was in a summer camp, and he was pro-Ukrainian, and they naked them and film and told them, if you will tell something bad about Russia, we will show this video in social media.
Yeah, see, I've heard this does not surprise me. I've not heard this particular example before, but this is how they behave.
Mm-hmm.
This is not uncommon for.
Yes.
This is how they treat.
Mm-hmm.
It's compromat. It's cruelty, psychological warfare.
Mm-hmm.
What does this mean for Ukraine? If first off, let me ask: can there be a peace with Russia if this issue of the children that have been stolen are not returned? To your mind, is it possible for a peace agreement without a reconciliation of the children?
No, because it's a crime, and it's only one way if they will return these kids back. I think we need this. We really need this war stop, really, because many people exhausted, many people are dying, and militaries and civilians. But this war about existence, Russia will never stop. If even they will sign this peace agreement, all Ukrainians believe that they will not stop. It will be only short time to prepare for next step, for next war, and just to take all Ukraine.
Are they keeping sufficient documentation so that maybe you can track down all the children, or are those children just going to be lost after the war?
We cannot believe that we will lose these children. We believe that we will return these children. But on the other hand, we know that many of them hugely brainwashed. Many of them threatened. They are Russian citizenship. They received Russian citizenship now, and we don't know. Really, we don't know. I really want all kids go back and this war stop. But I understand that Russia is enemy. Russia it's a country of criminals, state of criminals, and they hate us. They want to kill us, and they doing this every day. And last night I was sleeping and I woke up because rockets was over my house. Really, it was so huge sound. And it's your question about reconciliation. Yeah, but in these circumstances, when there are rockets killing our people every day, and it's very hard to think about reconciliation. They want to force us. They want to force us to give up now. And if they will be ready to sign any documents only with the intention of how to trick us, I believe this.
I agree, and I think that it's that their desire to destroy the thing about taking children. No, go
sorry
ahead.
for interrupting.
Sure, no, go ahead.
That it's very important because now we believe that people who are listening us, they should understand, because many people don't understand on the West that Putin, he's a criminal. Russia is a criminal state, and they want convince the West that Putin is a good guy. He's for values. He's fighting for Christian values. He's very good guy. He trying to kill bad guys. He won't convince Western audience about it, and some people believe that because it's a guy with a tie and suit who's telling like good things. Why
He pretends to be just another world leader.
Yes.
Like,
yeah, and please, he's eating children on a breakfast. Really, this guy who is ready eat kids, kill child, kidnap child. It doesn't matter for him, but it's like two person who live. One who is public person who telling right things, and another who is planning genocide and who is doing this. It's horrible, but that's why we should stop this evil. It's not arguing. Oh, should we do something? Should we give weapon to Ukraine? Really, I'm not a military. I'm 25 years in child protection. I'm protecting children's rights. 25 years. Orphans, street children, vulnerable families, just to help next generation survive and to be resilient, be strong, because Russia is killing us. We have to stop this evil. We have to stop this evil. You know that if your house will come enemy, and I'm very often when journalists asking me like about reconciliation, about something else, I'm telling you, case, my home. It's like, imagine somebody from my village come and raped and killed my wife, kidnapped my children, and then I survived. I was wounded, survived, and they tell me, can you forgive this? Let's stop. Forgive him. Let's sign this reconciliation. But my children there, he kidnapped. But he told us that for these kids better live in his house. He burned my house, he raped my wife and killed. He kidnapped my children. And guys, I need somebody who will help me take my kids back. But help me. He's a criminal. And you believe he's a good guy. No, maybe he could do worse for you. Leave your kids there.
And he's threatening to, by the way, he's threatening to burn down my house too.
Yes.
I don't want my house to be burnt down.
Yes.
So I'm going to make you forgive him for burning down your house.
Yes. Because for that citizen of that village, maybe better not touch him. Maybe better. Forget about it.
Big bad.
We will help you rebuild your house. We will help. But every night he comes and he hurt me and he do bad things. Don't worry. Don't worry. You know, what is this? If it happened with me, if it happened with you, what you will be doing? You will take a weapon just to kill that guy and take your kids back. I will do this because he's a criminal. He killed my wife, he killed my children, hurt them. What is it's happened in my country? That's why I need that ones, friends who will stand with me, who will fight with me, who will go to that guy, take my kids to protect me and my home. It happened every day with our nation.
Do you ever think that, and I won't keep you much longer, but do you think Putin or Lubova Belova, will they ever face consequences? Do you think they'll actually appear in The Hague?
Yes, I believe. And we now collect this and document these crimes. General Prosecutor Office, our law enforcement, International Criminal Court have, I don't know, it's hundreds of thousands cases of war crimes. And I believe in tribunal. I believe that Putin will stand there, Maria Lvova-Belova, and all that decision makers and on all level who did these crimes. Because any child who received Russian citizenship, who been sent to Russian schools, who been kidnapped, who been just deported or transferred to any territory, it's many crimes. They must be punished.
And just finally, if there was something you want to let Westerners in an English-speaking audience understand about the pain, the trauma, the crimes, what Russia is doing to Ukraine, to Ukrainian children, what would you it's not our problem. Ukraine is so far away, and I don't understand, and it's difficult. What would you have people understand in the West and in America, in Britain,
I will
about
ask,
the trauma here?
I told you that they are fighting with the West, not with Ukraine. Now they are fighting, and they are preparing millions of children for next bigger war with the West. And my questions to Western audience, it doesn't matter, United States, Great Britain, or Germany, France, who is next? I've been in the Netherlands, and Save Ukraine received prestigious award for Freedom Award from Roosevelt Foundation.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And I had a meeting there when I asked audience, who's the next? And somebody told, oh, maybe Finland. Somebody told, maybe Poland. Oh, maybe Moldova. Nobody knows. But Putin has clear intention who will be the next. We have to sit and wait. Maybe not me, maybe not my country, not my house. Maybe your house, maybe your children will be the next. He will never stop. We have to stop evil. We have to be together. We have to stand together, fight together against evil. Because this is Western values. It is our values. Fight with evil. That's why we have to follow our values. And it's not just Ukraine. It's about values. If you stay with your values or not, it is a question.
Can you turn a blind eye to them?
Yeah.
Stealing, kidnapping, abducting children.
Yeah.
That's the question.
If you can be safe and feel good when somebody stealing, killing, raping very close to your border, to your house.
Yeah. Well, Mykola Kuleba, thank you for being our first guest on the Edge. I appreciate all the efforts that you're putting into it. It's an issue that I think we all need to keep a very close eye on and understand. These are war crimes. This is ethnic cleansing. This is genocide.
Yes.
Nothing short.
And thank you so much for invitation. And not forget, you can come to our website, Save Ukraine.
And we'll put the links.
.org.
Absolutely.
And support us.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it. Slava Ukraini.
Героям слава. Thank you.